Hello everyone and welcome back for some more Drag Race gossip, secrets and drama. I'm back for another Roscoe's recap, and this viewing party was for Season 15, Episode 15, which was the reunion episode. And the guests were Detox from Season 5 and All Stars 2, Jujubee from Season 2, All Stars 1, All Stars 5 and UK vs the World, as well as Carson Kressley, who has been a regular judge on Drag Race since Season 7. And if you want to watch the full Roscoe's viewing party, I'll put a link to it in the description. Today we're going to be talking about Bob the drag queen dissing Mistress Isabelle Brooks in a new song, the reason why Carson Kressley was mysteriously absent for most of Season 15, and Detox says that Trinity The Tuck needs to leave Luxx Noir London alone. All that and more coming up in today's video, so let's get started. And I'd like to take a moment to say thank you to the sponsor of this video, Surfshark. A lot of people have asked me how I watch the different franchises of Drag Race, and the answer is that I use a VPN like Surfshark. Surfshark allows you to switch your online location with just the click of a button. So, for example, if you're based in the US and you want to watch RuPaul's Drag Race on WoW Presents Plus, you won't be able to as it's not available. But with Surfshark, all you have to do is switch your location to another country like Albania, and suddenly every season of Drag Race will be available to you. Surfshark has over 3,200 servers in more than 100 countries, so anywhere you go, you'll find a server that fits your needs. And what's more, if you use my code DRAGT, you'll get an incredible 83% discount, 3 months free, and a 30-day money-back guarantee. Just scan the QR code on the screen or click the link in the description and in the pinned comment. Thanks again to Surfshark for sponsoring this video. So, they started off by talking about the season in general, and Carson mentioned that you may have noticed that he was quite absent from the season, and he was only there for a few episodes at the beginning and then disappeared. Carson explained that they regularly get tested for COVID, and one day he was in his trailer and people came to his trailer wearing quote hazmat suits and told him that he had tested positive for COVID. And Carson joked that they took him and his luggage to his rented Kia Eclipse car and he wasn't allowed to come back on set for 10 days. Carson said that the final episode was 11 days after that, so he thought that he'd be able to at least come back for the final episode. However, they had to change the filming schedule and it was moved to the 10th day instead, so Carson was not allowed to come back for any of the rest of the episodes. They then talked about this week's episode, which was the reunion, and they brought up Princess Poppy's outfit and how it was an homage to Rebecca Glasscock. Just in case you don't know, Rebecca Glasscock was a contestant on Season 1 of Drag Race US, and her entrance outfit has become a bit of a meme online today because compared to today's Drag Race entrance looks, it was quite plain. Anyway, Detox said that Poppy did a great job of recreating Rebecca's look at the reunion, and Detox said, quote, "I was like, who's Poppy?" And everyone started laughing, and then they looked into the camera and said, quote, "Hi Poppy." Host Naysha Lopez then brought up Carson being absent for most of the episodes and asked whether because he was absent for most of the episodes, was he able to form more of an opinion and be a bit more loose with his opinions. And Carson joked and said, quote, "I don't know why you looked at me and said loose," and then Carson shoved an entire piece of food into his mouth and everyone started laughing. Carson then explained that although it sucked that he had to miss so many episodes, it meant that he got to see the season from a different perspective. Carson then said that people often ask him if the judges know about the storylines and the drama between the queens, and Carson said no, they don't, and the only thing they get to see are the runways and the performances. Carson then said, quote, "Some of these contestants are shady bees," and Carson added, quote, "We have no idea and you would judge it very differently, I think, as a person who has feelings. You might be like, they were mean, I'm going to dock them." They then brought up the moment from the reunion when Princess Poppy joked that people think that she gave other people COVID. Just in case you missed this, I did talk about this in a previous Roscoe's recap, which I'll link to in the description, so make sure you check that out. But basically, when Poppy was at Roscoe's, she made a comment saying that she had COVID right before filming started, and she tried to shove chapstick up her nose because she had read online that it stops COVID tests from showing as positive. And Poppy got a lot of criticism afterwards, and Poppy tweeted saying that she didn't actually have COVID. And in a recent interview with Entertainment Weekly, Poppy talked more more about this and said that it was a joke and she didn't actually have COVID at that point. She also stated that she didn't actually put chapstick up her nose and this was just something that she had read online. Anyway, back to Roscoe's, and they talked about this moment at the reunion and getting COVID, and they joked that Poppy must have given Carson COVID, and host Batty Davis said, quote, "Carson, I know how you like them little Twinkie boys." Carson then said that he doesn't have a relationship with any of the queens until after the show is finished. And Carson even said that a lot of people may not know this, but the judges have to sign a contract that says that the judges won't have any kind of relationship with the contestants until the show is over. They then talked about the moment in the reunion when Luxx Noir London addressed whether her wig was really 40 inches long. And Naysha brought up the fact that while they were on the topic of Luxx, Luxx had received a lot of hate online and had to defend her drag and her attitude. Detox said that Luxx came in with a lot of confidence and then delivered on her claims because she's really good at what she does, so her attitude was actually warranted. And Detox made the point that unfortunately, queens of colour tend to be held to a different standard, and Detox said, quote, "Let's call a spade, it's easy to pick on a black contestant." Host Caramel then said that queens of colour get held to a double standard, and Caramel made the point that Luxx had a similar track record and attitude to season 10 winner Aquaria, but Aquaria didn't receive the same amount of hate that Luxx did. And Caramel made a point about how, quote, toxic the fan base is. Batty Davis then said that the queens who had already been on the show are tearing down newer queens and it needs to stop. And Jujubee then said, quote, "Are you talking about Trinity?" And Batty says yes. Just to explain in case you hadn't seen, Trinity The Tuck and Luxx Noir London had a few feuds on Twitter throughout the season. And I did talk about this in a previous video, so I'll put the link in the description if you want all of the details. Anyway, at Roscoe's they talked more about Trinity The Tuck's feud with Luxx, and Jujubee said, quote, "Leave Luxx alone, Trinity," and Detox also said the same thing. Detox then said that the whole thing was, quote, "so silly," and then said that she was about to insert herself into the drama, but then remembered what had happened with Valentina and decided not to. For background information, if you didn't already know, back when Valentina was on season 9, Detox had made several negative comments about Valentina. For example, in one tweet, Detox insinuated that Valentina puts on an accent when she's on TV. And Detox also made a few comments on Facebook from an account under the name Matthew Sanderson, which is Detox's name out of drag. And Detox said that she had a beef with Valentina because she felt that Shea Coulee had been, quote, robbed. And also Detox said that she thought Valentina had a, quote, contrived character and said that she knew her, quote, bull bleep. And in another Facebook thread, which was about Charlie Hyde's defending people calling out Valentina for her bad attitude, Detox commented saying that multiple people had said the same thing about Valentina and said, quote, hashtag common denominator. Anyway, Detox said that because of all of that with Valentina, she decided not to get involved with the Trinity and Luxx drama on Twitter. But Detox said that one of Trinity's tweets that, quote, killed me the most was when Trinity said that she was too busy on her international tour to get involved in the drama. And Detox said, quote, well, you're not too busy to be effing quote tweeting and all of this bleep. Detox said that we have more important things to focus on and we should not be fighting within our own community, and we also shouldn't be focusing on impersonations that were, quote, mid. Naysha then said she feels like this whole reunion episode was essentially Mistress Isabelle Brooks's reunion episode because Mistress was the main subject and discussion and was involved in so much of the episode. And part of this might be because recently on Twitter, Mistress got involved in a jokey feud with season 8 winner Bob the Drag Queen. It all started when Mistress tweeted saying, "I'm done beating around the bush, she has stepped out of line with me too many times. At that one queen," which is Bob's Twitter handle, "when I see you, it's on site, period." Bob quote tweeted this and said that if this retweet got 15,000 likes, she would drop a diss track about Mistress. Bob then released a video a few days later called Mistress is About to Get Dragged featuring Selena S. Titties. And the song was set to the melody of the RuPaul song Red You Wrote You, and in the track, Bob made some jokey digs about Mistress such as, quote, how you got two faces but you got three chins. I can't play the songs here for copyright reasons, but I'll link to them in the description. And on the same day, Mistress also released a video called Ode to Monet's Understudy, which was set to the melody of RuPaul's song I'm That Bee. And in the video, Mistress made jokes about Bob, such as, quote, how you reading a bee rocking custom couture? If it was rags to riches, then Bob was the before. And both of these songs were really funny, and it was clearly just a joke between the queens and wasn't meant too seriously, and it's assumed that this was all pre-arranged because the songs were both released on the same day. Anyway, back to Roscoe's, and Naysha then asked Jujubee when the last time was that she was at Roscoe's, and Jujubee said, quote, when you and Derrick were fighting, and everyone laughed. And Detox said, quote, roll the footage, and Naysha said, quote, we had to edit that one out. Just to explain, at a previous viewing party at Roscoe's, Derrick Barry was one of the guests, and the week before when Naysha had announced that Derrick was going to be a guest the next week, the audience didn't really react, and Naysha joked and said, quote, crickets, and everyone laughed. And people said that Naysha had shaded Derrick, and then the week after, when Derrick was at Roscoe's as a guest, Derrick confronted Naysha about her crickets comments, and both of them kept making passive-aggressive and shady comments to each other, and some of them were kept in the video that was uploaded to Roscoe's channel. However, a video taken by an audience member was then uploaded online, and it showed Naysha and Derrick getting into a heated argument during the commercial break, and this part of the video was not included in the official video on Roscoe's channel. And people have claimed that this is the reason why Roscoe's no longer allows audience members to record video during the viewing parties. Anyway, they then moved on to the topic of the season 15 finale, and Naysha said that both she and Carson were at the finale. And they said that it was really fun, but it was very long, and Carson said that it took about 8 hours to film. Naysha then addressed the rumours that had been circulating online that Anetra's backup dancer had broken their leg at the finale taping. And Naysha explained that she had tweeted about this a few days ago, but what actually happened was that one of the dancers injured themselves, but they were part of each contestant's performance, not just Anetra's. And so all of the contestants' performances had to be modified to make up for the missing dancer who had injured themselves. I did do a video about this in more detail, so make sure you check it out. I'll put a link in the description. The reunion episode then ended and they moved on to the audience Q&A, and an audience member asked whether they thought that a judge on Drag Race had ever got too personal with their critiques. And Detox said that someone in the audience had shouted out Adore Delano, who famously left All Stars 2 during filming because she said that Michelle Visage's comments were overly mean. Detox explained that leading up to the All Stars 2 filming, they had been touring with Michelle Visage and they had got really close, and Detox joked that Michelle was like a, quote, second mother. Detox said that people got upset with Michelle because of how she judged Adore in that first challenge, and Detox said that she disagreed that Michelle was overly harsh, and Detox said that Michelle was, quote, just doing her job, and Detox said that Michelle was really just saying to Adore that she needed to, quote, wake up, this is what we want to see from you. And just as a side note, Adore has previously talked about quitting All Stars 2 in more detail, and she said that it wasn't actually so much Michelle's comments that made her want to leave, but it was actually more Raven Simonier's comments, who was a guest judge that week. I did talk about this in a previous video, so I'll link to that, so make sure you check it out for the full story on why Adore left All Stars 2. And finally asked whether any of the guests knew about the time that Raja had apparently screamed at Michelle during All Stars 7. Carson then said that he didn't know anything about it, and everyone laughed because it was insinuated that he did know about it but he just couldn't talk about it. And Detox said that Carson's NDA is stricter than the Queen's, which is why he can't talk about it but the Queen's can. And Detox said that she knows Raja, and apparently when Raja got home from filming All Stars 7, she told Detox, quote, girl, wait till you hear what I told Michelle. And Detox said that Raja said that because it's All Stars winners and, quote, we have a bit more freedom in the way we treat you too, referring to the judges. And Detox said that it was the same when they were filming All Stars 2, and Detox said, quote, I'm going to take my time when I need to take my time, and I'm going to talk to you the way that I'm going to talk to you, because it's about knowing your worth and being comfortable with all of that. And I did also do a video about Raja shouting at Michelle on All Stars 7, and I'll put a link in the description. So there you go, there was the Roscoe's recap for Season 15, Episode 15, which was the reunion. If you'd like to get access to my videos before they go on YouTube, as well as shoutouts in my videos, priority when submitting interview questions, and also access to my archived videos, you can join my Patreon for just a few dollars a month to unlock these incredible benefits. I'll put a link in the description. And I'd just like to say thank you so much to all of my incredible Patreon members. Your support is really amazing and it really does make such a huge difference to my channel, so thank you all so much. So, what did you think of the reunion episode? And who do you predict will win season 15? Let me know in the comments. And thank you once again to Surfshark for sponsoring this video. Make sure you use my code DRAGT to get an incredible 83% discount, 3 months free, and a 30-day money-back guarantee. Just scan the QR code on screen or click the link in the description and in the pinned comment. Please make sure you like, comment, and share this video as it really helps support my channel. And of course, please make sure you hit the subscribe button to stay up to date about new uploads. Thanks for watching, and I hope you'll join me again in future videos. Thank you, bye!